This episode of LaserDiscotheque is sponsored by Hollywood LaserDisc, bringing you the highest quality and variety of new, old, stock, sealed, and used LaserDisc movies, music discs, and box sets. Visit www.hollywoodlaserdisc.com, click the shop button, get ready to find a ton of cool stuff, all organized in different categories for your convenience. And in celebration of the store officially turning 1 year old, use the code LDF at checkout to receive 20% off all LaserDisc orders. All hail Maxine, the LaserDisc Queen.
LaserDiscotheque! LaserDiscotheque! You love LaserDisc, but you have to pay! LaserDiscotheque! LaserDiscotheque! We talk about LaserDisc, but you have to pay! VHS, no! DVD, no! Blu-ray, fuck you! CED, die! LaserDiscotheque! LaserDiscotheque! We talk about LaserDisc, but you have to pay! LaserDiscotheque! LaserDiscotheque! We talk about LaserDisc, but you in the mood!
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you. Be sure to tip your waitress. Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LaserDiscotheque podcast, episode 8.
Whoa!
Can you believe
8.
it? Holy
Nice.
shit! Crazy 8s. All right,
Lucky
guys.
number 8.
This is Moyke Baud, your number 1 host, the bestest host that you will ever have. And secondary hosts, not as good as the original, but almost as good. Sam Hatch.
Thank you. Moyke. We still call you Moyke no matter what you call yourself, so.
Yeah, Moyke, whatever. It's all the same name. Who cares?
But thank you.
Also with me is Shawn.
That's me.
Shawn, how you doing?
Great, man. How about yourself?
Awful. LaserDisc forever is just
Yeah, you had a
sapping
rough
my
day.
will to live.
Yeah.
Oh my god. A
Yeah,
rough
well-
week. More
Well,
like it.
Yeah.
for what it's worth, at least you probably have AC still. I had to put up window units in my entire house because of this hurricane bullshit.
Ooh.
Yeah, we do have one AC left up. I took all the other ones down, but yeah, we do have one left. But yeah, next year, central air, for sure. But
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Anyway, enough about the weather. Who cares? Yeah. You know, I do kind of love it, though, even though it kind of annoys me, the group. There's a certain part of me that loves arguing with everybody. But anyway.
You love drama.
Let's get into... That's right. A little bit, I do. Let's get into pickups and recently spinning. I'll go first, because I never get to go first.
All right, go
Yeah,
for
I'm
it.
going to go first on this. Yeah. So, recent pickups, I got... today, I got Deadly Spawn and Supernaturals, which is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Those are two movies I've been chasing for quite some time, and they're kind of hard to find, so I was able to find them. No Obies, but hey, you know, sacrifices must be made to the almighty LaserDisc gods. I also picked up a small lot that my parents actually picked up for me. Some guy on Facebook down in Scranton was selling discs for $1 each. Nothing mind-blowing, but some, you know, not super common stuff. And I picked up about 35 discs there, and you know, for $1 each, how could I not?
Yeah,
So-
reasonable pricing for a change, huh?
Yeah, you know, you rarely ever see him for $1 each, and he even came into the group and sold some discs to some people. So
Cool.
that's kind of awesome. He even said to me, he's like, "Well, I'll ship them to you. I don't mind." But I was like, my parents live down in that area; they'll just pick them up. But you know, I told him about the group and said that he should swing by, and I posted his list for him, and yeah, sounds like people are getting some deals. So that's always good. Recently spinning, so I've I watched the first disc of Seven Samurai. I didn't get
yeah.
I didn't get very far with that because people on LaserDisc Forever were ruining my night, and I just couldn't focus on it. So
That was a bad
Put a
night for
pause on
sure,
that.
man.
it was a bad night for an eight-sided movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I only got done with the first disc, but I'm gonna pick it back up again, and I did love what I saw so far. Way better than the recent remake of Magnificent Seven for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was a turd.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that, so I do plan on picking that up again soon. I've also been watching Urgururgudishu.
Oh, Rutskadoshi.
Rushkadoji,
Yeah.
Whatever. Which I've got very mixed feelings on. Sometimes, I'm watching it and I'm like, man, this is pretty awesome, and I get like really into it. And then the next scene, something that makes absolutely no sense will happen.
Yeah, and then vacuum
and
dicks happen.
And I'm right back to just hating anime. I'm just sitting there seething, going, and I'm saying like out loud to nobody, this is why I hate anime. Right here, this is why I hate it. But I'm still watching it, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I saw that.
That's the weird thing about anime is no matter how much I hate it, I keep watching it and I keep finishing it, and it's like this weird love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I told you this one
weird
was. Oh man, there's some 80s and 90s anime that's fucking brutal shit, and some of that shit is brutal shit.
Yeah, it's brutal. Like I don't get it. Like I'm still trying to figure out if what's it called? The what's his name? The main bad guy. It's the subtitle.
The Overfiend?
Overfiend.
Yeah.
The Overfiend. Yeah, like is he a good thing? Is he a bad thing? The main half demon, half human guy seems to think he's a good thing, even though he does the most vile shit ever. I mean, he rapes that nurse and turns her into like a meatloaf, and this guy's like, he's gonna make things great. This guy has my full support.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about anime. The heroes, I notice in anime, the heroes do such despicable things, and no one seems to give a shit.
That bleeds outside of anime too, though. I mean, I watched some Takashi Miike flicks recently where like a heroic cop like has a pervert come into town and like sexually molest and sodomize witnesses, just as a way, just for fun. Yeah.
Jeez.
Maybe it's just a difference in culture, but
it must be.
I can't get used to it. It's like,
and come on, I mean, to be honest, Western stars do that stuff too. Hey, I just noticed some injustice. I'm gonna go murder everyone to stop it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh yeah, but
destroy
you're murdering
a bunch
bad
of property.
Guys. Yeah, well, the property is.
Come on, a lot of innocent people are dying too.
No,
it's not just the bad guy.
Okay, let's use an example. Okay, let's say the Avengers,
God.
right? Sure, yes, a lot of buildings get trashed, a lot of people die.
Yeah.
But the people that die are straight up villains. I mean, there's no. There's no gray area.
Oh, that's
there.
crap.
They're pretty despicable things, and the destruction is happening because those villains are attacking, and the Avengers are trying to defend, but their goal isn't to like in Urgururgudishu, like the goal is to let's see how many innocent civilians I can absorb into my dick and how many chicks I can rape and explode with my jizz. It's like, and then the guy's like, well, yeah, he's gonna make our 3 worlds awesome.
Yeah,
and everything's going to be great, so I'm totally backing this guy. And I'm like, what the hell is good? Like, it's hard for me to root for these people.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of wondering how many people you could absorb into your dick, too.
I know.
Yeah, well.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, dude.
Let's find out!
Yeah. No. Hey, didn't you pirate the Keep, too, this weekend? Or I thought I saw
pirate. Well, I didn't pirate it. I paid for that.
Weren't you streaming it illegally or something? I thought I saw.
I'm streaming it illegally. Please, like Michael Mann gives a shit if I stream it to a Facebook group. He doesn't even want that shit. He doesn't care. He's abandoned it.
I bet Mark Lawson, super Canadian lawyer extreme, will be on your case in no time. So get ready for that.
Well, I got Michael Mann's permission, so.
Oh wait, he's our lawyer. He's not gonna. Never mind. I got our lawyers confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, please don't open us to litigation.
Yeah, come
on.
Let's get that shit on the deal.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to have to worry about Mr. Lawler.
Yeah, that's it. Lawler.
Last thing I need.
Mark Lawler. That's it.
Mark Lawler. Our Canadian lawyer, Mark Lawler.
Yeah.
Putain and Lawler. Oh god, I can't even say that. God,
anyway, you been spinning anything else or what?
Yeah, this is the longest section ever.
How did we end up here? I don't know.
That's why we don't let you go first, Moyke.
Yeah, I mean,
Never
I probably have, but who cares? Let's move on. All right, Shawn, what do you got?
All right. As far as pickups, man, I got a really great music disc for really cheap from an eBay seller, Megadeth's Rusted Pieces, which is really great. Oh man, it's really cool. I mean, to be honest, it's just a bunch of videos, but the cool part is the stuff.
What did you pay for that?
$20. free shipping.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah. It's a Japanese disc. It's usually really hard to get a hold of. I'm surprised the guy still has copies because I don't know why anybody wouldn't jump right on that one, man. It's as hard to find as the other ones, but the greatest part about it is the interstitial stuff between the videos where they're talking about. They're like, have fun. They're just making fun of fat chicks, and like, and being like, I saw this guy at a show with a blonde hairlock, and I was like, have fun with that faggot and stuff like that. Like, it's crazy. Like, the way they were talking about stuff was just like, you heard your douchebag brother's friends talk to his friends, and it was totally insensitive and horrible. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking hilarious, man. And also the videos they're fine. I mean, obviously they're dated, but music rocks, so that's all that's really important.
Does that have Symphony of Destruction on it?
No,
that's before that. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's before that. Yeah, it's way before that.
It's got to have Hangar 18 though.
Right? Yeah, it does have Hangar 18. Yeah,
it's
got Hangar 18 on that bitch. It's really good, man. Definitely worth picking up if you can pick it up for that much. I also got another copy of the CLV Brazil Criterion number 383, I believe, or 373.
Yeah, you Brazil hoarder.
yeah. Well, I got that last copy, and I couldn't believe it, and then Brendan mentioned that was the last disc he needed for Criterion spine number completion, and I was like,
yeah.
I'll sell it to you, and I did, and then I happened to run into another copy from somebody in the group, and I was amazed. I got it even cheaper the second time.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm really stoked to own that. I also got from Vincent Onorati, I got The Killer, which is another really great Criterion.
Man, I still need that.
Did you not have that already?
Triple gatefold. No, I didn't have that already. No. I got a lot of older movies and box sets for Criterion stuff, and a lot of Japanese and Asian films.
My problem is the triple gatefolds are hard to find in good condition. They're always a little ganked up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, it's nice looking, but one of the corners is bumped, and I'm like, ugh. I can only open this up like once a year if I ever want it to stay together for very long.
Yeah, right.
Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I have the triple gatefold. I think I just have the
single disc,
the regular. The regular gatefold.
Well,
guess I'll have to fix it.
Yeah. Well, for right now, I'm cooler than you, Moyke.
No,
just for right now.
You muggles in your unimpressive collections.
Yeah, whatever. Dude.
Keep telling yourself that.
As far as spinnings, of course, besides all that stuff, what did I watch the other day? And I was like, I have to point it. Oh yeah. I got another thing from Peter. This is also a pickup and a spinning. Peter Biancardi Claus. He hooked me up with a great box set of the Macross Perfect Movie Edition, which is Do You Remember Love? Great box set, and I had a lot of fun watching it. Yes. Yeah, actually, I do have to say there is one song in there, and it's the first song that Min-Mei sings in that is actually horrible. Like worse than Moyke singing.
Shoo. Yeah.
Shao Pai Long. Fucking horrible.
Come on, man, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm almost like happy when the sirens
go off.
Thank
God.
But, no disrespect, Peter, to Min-Mei. So that's pretty much it, man. I mean, besides that normal stuff, I watch an episode of Space 1999 here and there, or just random stuff, So
cool. I also want to mention that I got Arugadoogadieshu from Peter Biancardi as well.
Biancardi Claus.
Shout-outs to Peter!
Oh, yeah, actually, I wanted to mention also, I did ship 2 packages, one to you, Moyke, and one to you, Sam. You guys know that.
Ooh.
I hope you guys like what's in them. Sam,
Mysterious.
I sent you a bunch of stuff I think you'll like, and Moyke, I sent you a bunch of stuff I hope you hate.
All right, I love it. Thanks, buddy.
Chances are good. All right, Sam.
Well,
go ahead and bore us
you might have seen my recent pickups video, but Biancardi Claus flew over my house too, and he dropped a sweet box set of Macross Plus, the anime OVA episodes on my head.
I gotta get him on the show here.
And I watched all 4 of them, so that was like my fun time last week, and that was awesome of him to hook me up. Of course, he had to hook me up with a bunch of other random classical music discs and opera discs and all that sort of stuff too. And then I also got Ren hooked me up with the THX The Spy Who Loved Me, which is one of the last THX James Bond discs I need. And then Sylvain from France hooked me up with some PAL discs. I finally popped my PAL cherry because he had GoldenEye. And I'm like, all right, I better start collecting some PAL 007 titles. I need a player now. But he hooked me up. And they're all dubbed in French, too, so I'm kind of dying to see them.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, so he hooked me up with GoldenEye and Dune and Pulp Fiction and what else? Oh, Taxi, The Big Blue, Version Longue, and, of course, Le Cinquième Élément, like, titled that and all dubbed in French and everything like that. So, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's neat having, like, it's all, French text and everything like that. So it's a little bit different and kind of fun. But 4% speed up, I know. I got to deal with that stuff. But I figured just because they were some of my favorite films. Oh, 7, too. And
nice.
that was in the lot. Yeah, I figured, it'd be cool to have a French version of 7 just for display. So now I got to go find myself a player, man.
Would it, though?
What?
Would it be good to own a French version of 7? What the? Like, why is that good?
It's cool, man. I'm a fan, man.
Yuck.
You call me the muggle. Man.
Yeah, I don't have PAL discs. I have standards.
Yeah, man, I got standards too, but I loves me some 7. So
Standards.
I had to get that in spinning. Yeah, just that Macross stuff, and I swear maybe another flick or two, but it's all, I don't know, my mind's gone to mush. So let's move on.
All right, cool. Well, let's talk about our movie for the episode. I think Shawn picked it this time.
He did.
I did.
For him to pick.
It took me forever. Yeah, sorry guys. What did it take, a week?
Yeah.
It's okay. You had a hurricane or two to deal with.
Yeah, no big deal. But
no excuses.
The movie we picked is the wonderful film from Luc Besson, Leon, or known in the United States as The Professional.
The Professional,
yeah, which is even less interesting than Leon. So it's a wonderful flick. It's about a guy named Leon. Obviously, he's a hitman, or what they say in the movies, a cleaner for a mafia guy. And one day when he's coming home, he meets this little girl, and her family ends up basically murdered because her father was in bed with some corrupt DEA agents and stuff like that. And basically she is like, I want to learn how to be an assassin, and he teaches her, and it's just kick-ass, man.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty much the rundown as far as, I don't want to give any more spoilers, obviously, although I guess I gave the biggest one for the beginning. But it features it's got a great cast. Jean Reno, as usual in every fucking Luc Besson movie, almost. Gary Oldman, Natalie Portman in her first movie, Dana Aiello. And obviously written and directed by, Luc Besson, as always. It's just so much fun, man. The ending's really cool. The copy that I have is actually the original cut, or the theatrical cut. But I have seen, finally, the version long.
Or the integral version, depending on...
Yeah, or the integral version, which I think only came out in Japan. It's a great flick, man. I loved it like I always do. I was really some of the details I was surprised at, because when you watch a film like this one again after you've seen it so many times, you start to notice small details. Like, I didn't realize how many times that Matilda was watching the Transformers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Twice, and it was really like they showed it on purpose that she was, And also I forgot that funny part where they were playing dress up with each other. And that was actually one of my favorite. We were talking about side breaks last time. The side break on that one is really hilarious because he comes out and he's supposed to be John Wayne, and she's like, and she guesses wrong, and he like does this frowny face or whatever, and then it flips sides. It's
Sean Wayne.
It's Sean Wayne, and then it flips sides. Fucking hilarious stuff. But Gary Oldman is amazing in it, totally unhinged. Yeah. I mean, he's done a bunch of roles like that, especially around the time, but Luc Besson really got the greatest shit out of him, man.
Man.
That Fifth Element, just I don't know, you never know what he's gonna do, and there's some great lines, some great moments with him. But it's just a great flick. You need to check it out right now. Get any version you want; they all rock. I know some people prefer one or the other, but I'm a big fan of them both. Get either one, you're gonna have fun.
The U.S. version is errata, though, so be careful with that.
Yes, it is.
The U.S. pressing.
Yes, the U.S. press.
You have the Japanese copy of that cut, right, Shawn?
Yeah, I have the Japanese one, the one where they're on the front, engulfed in flames, with the Obi on the top with Leon in red, and yeah, it's a really great disc. You know, no rot, no great picture quality. Well, we'll talk about that later, but yeah, it's really sweet. What about you guys? What do you think? What are your thoughts on the film?
Yeah, I mean, Gary Oldman's performance in that movie is iconic. It's one of the first movie. I think it's the first movie I've ever seen that I ever saw Gary Oldman in, and this movie actually means quite a bit to me. It's something my father and I used to watch all the time, and we would just dissect it constantly and talk about just how awesome it was. Actually, and surprisingly, I always thought I had seen the complete version, the integral version, I guess, as they call it. But actually, when I watched it again for this podcast, I found that I had never seen it before.
Really?
So this was my first time seeing the extended cut. So that was quite surprising for me, but also very awesome. I think I actually prefer this extended version better than the U.S. Theatrical release. But yeah, fantastic movie. I mean, I think that, going into this, we all pretty much knew that, none of us were going to hate on this movie. Jean Reno does a fantastic job as the sort of childlike Leon, and a lot of great lines in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's going to be tough. Favorite line's going to be tough.
Yeah, Gary Oldman just on his own, it just had so many memorable lines that it's just insane. So it was really difficult for me to pick one for this movie, but yeah, great flick, excellent LaserDisc. Thinking back now, this probably should have made at least one of our lists for LaserDisc that everyone should own. Wait, did it? I think it did. Didn't it make one of our lists?
I don't think so.
Good question.
No?
I don't think it made mine, believe it or not. Now.
Yeah.
Probably should have. Probably should have made at least one of our lists. So if you don't own this in one of its iterations, definitely check it out. And it's not super expensive, I don't think. Pretty common.
No, I got mine for about $15, so yeah, it's attainable.
I got my version integral for like $3 from a dude in Texas. It just didn't have the Obi strip, so I was like, good for
is that the same guy you got Japanese Dune from?
No, I still don't have Japanese Dune. I just have French Dune.
I thought you did. Oh, I thought.
And I got AC3 Dune.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry
but this flick meant a lot to me too. And sorry, you were still going. Sorry.
No, go. No, guys, go ahead. Please.
I was just gonna say I got it from Good Squid for like $10 or something like that. It was pretty cheap.
Yeah, Kevin's the man.
All right, Sam.
Oh yeah,
but to say about
this thing was pretty much part of the birth of my journey as a film guy. Like, I mean, I always liked movies growing up and stuff like that, but I finally moved out of the house. And that movie dropped the exact same weekend this new Cineplex opened up, like not too far from where I lived. And I pretty much moved into the Cineplex. I'd moved out of my parents' house for the first time, and I was, I had a job, and I'm like, young man, and I'm like, okay, let's go check that out. So that first weekend that opened, I went and saw a triple feature of Star Trek Generations, Pulp Fiction, and The Professional. And then I went to go back to see it at least 2 more times. And so, yeah, it was like a real early part of me, like really feeling like I wanted to get involved in film and pay more attention to it, and Gary Oldman, of course, blew my socks off. I mean, things like Drexel from True Romance and Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula, like he had that like added bonus of the crazy makeup and stuff in those, but this was like even more unhinged and over the top than either of those performances, and it was just him just wearing a suit, and he was terrifying in it. So great stuff.
Yeah, that little jaw crack head thing that he always does after he takes his horse tranquilizers or whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah, and I guess Luc Besson like just kept telling him to go for it, and he kept doing these like crazy wacky takes as just like a goof, and they were like, no, we're keeping those. And so they kept, he just kept getting nuttier and nuttier.
No. Yeah. If you cast Gary Oldman in your movie, you got to let him run with it.
Yeah, man. And for the longest time, I couldn't afford the version integral on LaserDisc, so I ordered the VHS bootleg of the LaserDisc. And yeah, I fell in love with that version too. I understand that it made people feel icky because of the relationship between Leon and Matilda, the young girl played by Natalie Portman, is fleshed out a little bit more in there, but I don't know. If you're hung up on that, you're hung up on that either. But, I mean, it has the bonus stuff of them going on a job together and him showing her the ropes, so they go and kind of bust into a drug dealer's house. And that stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just the action scenes, man. some really killer stuff. That whole opening
Amazing.
number where he's
Oh God, the opening.
where he's taking over a small apartment tower basically to get at this one guy. Is nuts, and a whole other number of scenes throughout, including the big finale. Not to spoil anything, man. Yeah, great stuff. That really set the pace for a lot of action movies in the time. So yeah, love it.
Definitely, and maybe I'm a weirdo, but I never got that vibe between him and Matilda that there was something untoward going on, because he's so childlike and
that's the thing.
And innocent. He doesn't seem like a sexual being at all in that movie. So
yeah, and I know that he worked extra hard at that because he didn't want it to get yucky. And it's funny, and maybe it's how old when you see it, because I saw it when I was young, and I remember the LA critics just taking it to task for being like outright, pedophilia and stuff. And I remember being a young man, and I could not see it at all. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
I don't see that whatsoever. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just, I was closer to her age than I was to Leon's age maybe at that time. So
I was too. Yeah, I was too.
Yeah, I'm with you that it doesn't bother me. Not really. The only reason I even find myself thinking about it is because I have a daughter her age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. But it doesn't really bother me, and I think it owes to that performance, like you guys were talking about, Reno's performance. He's just like it's like they end up being homeless people and they're buddies when they're kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, they just understand each other. You know what I mean? And I agree with you that I don't really get that vibe, and it sucks that anybody would take away what's really not there from that movie, But I don't know. It is what it is, man. I know I put it in my notes that we should talk about it, just because I remember there being a big deal about it too, But I've seen it.
And that was just the normal cut too, and there's more of their relationship, so to speak, in the long one.
Yeah, right, and but I mean, I've even seen it with like my parents, like the most conservative Christian people ever, and they never said anything about it either. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't get it. I'm with you that I don't get it. Except that some people can infer it, and it kind of makes me feel weird about those people more than it does the movie.
For sure.
I know. I was gonna say I feel like some projection is going on here.
But
anyway, let's talk picture quality. What do you guys think?
I liked I love the Japanese integral version. I've got the DADC USA pressing, which does have rot, but I bought that also when it first came out before it was rotted. And there was that period where Columbia films had like a weird kind of orangish hue to them and a little bit of noise, like right in the beginning when he's in Danny Aiello's pizza place and you see the glass of milk on the table. Like the milk is very noisy and
Danny Aiello's Pizza Hut.
Yeah, right. His red roof. All those kind of like earth tones and everything seem to be a little exaggerated in the US copy, but the Japanese one is, oh man, this gorgeous print. No noise and everything. And I just love the Leon titles when it slams over Central Park a lot more than the Professional. It's a little bit more impressive and in your face. Anyways, but yeah, the Japanese version looks way better than the American version.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna give it about an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm
somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm definitely in an 8 at least. So I could possibly push 8.5. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked amazing on my setup. It was just beautiful. So
US one's more like a 7.5. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the theatrical cut Japanese disc, and I'd give it about an 8 too. I really liked it. I mean, there's nothing really special about it because there isn't a bunch of color everywhere. You know what I mean? There's Central Park at the beginning, and then everything else is brown, gray, white, or black.
Very earth tone, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think that's a strength. I think that means that. I don't know. I think there's added sharpness because there's no color, basically, But I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was. I never thought about it while I was watching it. Like, never.
And it's a bright movie in most of the scenes. So it's very
a lot of daytime adventure.
It pops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I'm surprised. Like when I look at who mastered the movie. That's the same company that fucked up Fifth Element on LaserDisc, made it too bright.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe they learned from that. I don't know which came out first, but maybe they learned from it.
This one came out first. Yeah.
Then
Well, there you go.
They unlearned from it.
They unlearned. I wonder if I should get the theatrical cut. I don't know. I don't know if I can go back to it after seeing the extended cut. So
I'll probably pick up the Japanese one
whatever.
just for fun sometime. But and if you're looking for the U.S. cut, there's no alternate pressings. There's no DADC Austria version. There's no Pioneer USA one. It's all Sony DADC USA, and they're all
You're always
potentially
rolling the
rotted.
dice.
Yeah.
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 Unless I get the Japanese version, like Shawn has.
Yeah, so get that one for
Of course,
sure.
yeah, for sure. You won't be disappointed by the sound quality either. I mean, even I'm impressed, and this time I watched on a sound bar, so.
Yeah, none of them are AC3 as far as I know. Just Pro Logic,
Which is a shame.
but it sounds great.
That's a
It
shame.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a shame,
Yeah.
but it still sounds great.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, great
It
score
does,
too
it
from
does.
Eric Serra. I forgot to mention that. Oof.
Yeah, great shit.
Cool. All right, let's do favorite scene.
All right.
Sam, what was your favorite scene?
You can't top the Stansfield and his buddies rolling in the beginning to the first scene with Gary Oldman and seeing him popping his pills and talking about Beethoven
Yeah.
and Brahms and just that whole scene is just crazy, man.
Yeah, I'll just jump in right now and say that was my pick as well. I mean, it is brutal.
Yeah.
It catches you by surprise.
Shotgun
It's
in
so
a
brutal.
bathtub.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
fuck, man.
And they pull no. I mean, they
No.
don't show the tiniest kid getting killed, but I mean, the teenage girl they show her just getting blasted, the mother getting blasted. Just and they save the guy for like they almost save him for last so he knows
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. It is just unbelievably brutal.
Just the way the music works when like Gary Oldman like parts that like wall of beads and everything like that, and he comes
Yep.
through the room. It's just all just timed and orchestrated so
Yeah.
well.
And the dude is acting like he's just strolling through the park, like it's no big
know.
thing for him. It's crazy.
Yeah. Fucking great shit, dude. That is pretty astonishing scene, man. Definitely.
Yep.
Mine is like it's like 2/3 of the way. It's okay. It doesn't really matter where it is. All that matters is Matilda and Gary Oldman's character are in a bathroom, and it's just tense and manic and frightening. He's talking to her like she basically went there to kill him. Spoilers,
Yeah.
or whatever. But it's just it's insane, and all she can basically do is just cower there. You know what I mean? It's astonishing how powerfully frightening that is, and how manic Gary Oldman is in that scene. It's just, oh man, even thinking about it right now gives me the fucking creeps, man.
It's so intense because
Yeah.
like how is she gonna get out of that alive? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I got to
sure.
admit, talking about this movie again makes me want to watch it all over again.
Excellent.
Even though I just saw it. That's how awesome it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
Let's see. Favorite lines. Mine has to be the somewhat obvious. Get me everyone.
Yeah.
What do you mean everyone? Everyone. Oh my god, it's just so awesome. I use that line in real life as much as possible. That's how awesome that is. Shawn, what was yours?
Mine is an exchange at the police station between two minor characters where they get a pizza and the one guy's like, careful, it might be poisoned, and the other guy's like, nah, there's no anchovies on this.
Wow. What a pointless line of dialogue.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's wonderful. I paused the movie to laugh, so I didn't
That's
miss
awesome.
anything.
All right, Sam.
I'd be tempted to choose one of Gary Oldman's lines too because they're all just so great. But one of my favorites is
They are.
Matilda and Leon are just walking down the street and he's laying down the rules, trying to be a parental figure for once, and she just answers okay to everything. And his final word is, and stop saying okay all the time, okay?
That
she's
is a
like,
good one,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do love that that Beethoven discussion.
Oh yeah, check out Brahms
myself.
too. He's good.
Check out
yeah,
Brahms.
he's good too.
It's good.
Oh gosh, I mean, going back to favorite scene, I and I'm sorry for skipping around, but
No, it's fine.
the first time we see Gary Oldman's character and he's talking to her dad, and he just like basically goes up to him, and he's just like,
Start smelling them. Yeah.
of course he didn't take it. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, yeah, just creeps, man, creeps. It's so great. Oh man.
Yeah. So, anybody else got anything to say on the Professional or Leon?
Leon.
Yeah, it's
As
all-time
Leon?
favorite. Check it out. If you haven't.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too. Definitely in my top 15.
Yeah.
I would guess.
Nice.
Okay.
What? Oh, do you disagree? All right, you got a problem?
Wow,
with
you got
that?
upset. All maudlin over there.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, he doesn't approve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disapprove. But no, I'm just kidding. It's a great movie. Watch it. Get any version on LaserDisc. Even if you have to get the US one, just hope it's not routed. Have fun.
Yep.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey everybody, this is Sam here for a minute to talk about Hollywood LaserDisc, our sponsor. If you're a member of the LaserDisc Forever group on Facebook, you no doubt already know who Maxine, the LaserDisc Queen, is. And if not, you're about to meet her in a minute anyways. But Maxine Davlin, the proprietor of Hollywood LaserDisc, launched the site www.hollywoodlaserdisc.com back in 2016 and has been selling LDs full-time ever since. Not just a fancy name, Hollywood LaserDisc operates from the heart of the entertainment capital, not very far even from the birthplace of the format itself. And this key location gives Maxine access to not only large amounts of discs, but also original Pioneer marketing materials and all sorts of cool stuff. Check out our website. Once you click shop, it's all laid out for you depending on what you're looking for. You can find some of that cool LaserDisc merch, like who doesn't need a Pioneer laser clock? But for LDs, there's horror, sci-fi, Disney, kids, music, Criterion, box sets, DTS, Dolby Digital, widescreen, bargain bin sale items. It's all laid out in an orderly fashion so you don't have to go digging through dusty crates buried under piles of junk at a thrift store, like you normally do. And you have the Laser Queen to thank for that. And in celebration of Hollywood LaserDisc's 1-year anniversary, get ready to take 20% off all LaserDisc orders with code LDF. And tell Maxine the podcast nerd sent you.
All right, let's go on to our top 5. And with us this time, we have a special guest. But before we get to our special guest, Sam,
Do you need a theme song?
Yep, that's what. Yep, nail it.
All right. It's LA Top 5! It's LA Top 5! It's LA Top 5 of some Hollywood LaserDiscs!
Oh, yeah. I was dancing. Metal! No,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, so our special guest with us today for the first time, and probably the last. That's all right. No. We have Maxine Davlin with us from Hollywood LaserDisc and LaserDisc Forever. How you doing, Maxine?
Yay, I'm so good. This is so fun.
Cool. And not to put you on the spot or anything, but why don't you tell us a little bit about Hollywood LaserDisc? What is Hollywood LaserDisc?
Oh my gosh. Well, it would not be possible without this group, which is so funny. This podcast probably wouldn't be possible without this group either, so. But
Definitely.
I pretty much, the whole LaserDisc story of LaserDisc Forever for me is I went to a swap meet and found this gigantic promotional LaserDisc that was like 24 inches in diameter. It was this huge LaserDisc. And I went into the group and I was like, has anyone ever seen this? Because I wanted to know more about it. And everyone just like freaked out at that LaserDisc because no one had ever seen it. And I'm like still this day trying to figure out where exactly it came from. But yeah, Hollywood LaserDisc is just like been crazy fun for me, like getting to interact with all kinds of people who love LaserDiscs as much as I do. So I'm just happy to have the site, and I've been working on it because its birthday is coming up on October 13th.
Oh, yay.
Woo!
Yeah, nice.
Wow.
It's turning
Nice.
1.
Yeah,
I'm so
congratulations.
excited.
Congrats.
Thank you.
How many LaserDiscs do you have at Hollywood LaserDisc at this
I
point? How much in
have
stock?
probably around 4,000, maybe a little more.
Jesus.
Oh,
Wow.
And that's not my personal collection is probably 1,500.
Wow, man.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
I know, it's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah,
Jealousy.
total.
All right. Cool. What's the URL to Hollywood LaserDisc?
It is www.hollywoodlaserdisc.com, and you have to put the www because it's like 1995. So.
Nice.
Yes.
We would expect no less. And
Yeah.
there will be a URL in the description, right, Sam?
Yeah, I'll make sure it's on there. People can
That's right, you will.
go right there, man. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into our top 5. So this is, what is it? Top 5 LaserDisc movies that are set in LA.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Hometown heroes.
Yeah.
All right.
We thought it might be fun with Maxine
Yeah,
on the
for sure.
podcast.
Yes, I was so stoked.
Most definitely. So, Shawn, why don't you go ahead and start us off? Or, you know what? Let's talk about honorable mentions. You guys got any honorable mentions? While you guys talk about your honorable mentions, I'm going to run downstairs and grab my list.
Well,
I left it down
I
there,
think we
so
should
go
go
ahead.
ahead and let ladies go first. Maxine, you got any?
I agree.
You
Well,
kicked off the
yeah,
list?
I have quite a few honorable mentions because
Nice.
it's really hard for me. So, I guess, okay, I'll start with Out of Bounds, which is an insanely good. It's Anthony Michael Hall trying to break out of being a nerd, and it's with Jenny Wright, and they're just like cruising Hollywood like in her convertible, and it has like the most amazing house with like Memphis 80s design, like outside and inside. It's so good, but the plot has so many holes in it that it's really hard to make my list. It's just like he's like a farm boy, and he like moves to LA for like to like go hang out with his brother, and then his brother like gets killed, and it's like, and now he's involved in a murder because he's like holding a gun, and like suddenly he's like escaping and like hanging out with Jenny Wright, who he met on a plane. There's like no logic in that film, but it's a great film.
Yeah,
I like it already.
Yeah.
What movie?
It's Out of Bounds. It's kind of like a really
What's it called?
Out of Bounds. Yeah.
Never heard
it's
of it.
Anthony Michael Hall, Jenny Wright, and they're just like in LA, and he's trying to be incognito, so they like get rid of his blonde hair for a minute, like put him in brunette hair, and like suddenly he's all dressed up like a punk, and he goes from being like this like wimpy kid to like, move out of the way, I'm taking care of this girl. Like,
How have I never heard of this?
well, it's really good.
I gotta check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, you do.
Yeah. But it didn't make my top just because of the insane amount of plot holes, so.
That's okay. I don't care about that stuff. All right, Shawn. Honorable mentions.
Well, did you have any other honorable mentions, Maxine? Were you finished?
Oh, I had two, maybe three others.
Yeah, go
If
ahead.
that's, if that's okay. I had
Sorry, Moyke
one spit.
Baud and cut you off.
No, it's okay. It's totally okay.
I didn't know. I missed the whole thing.
No, you just walked in on it. It's okay. I had One Spittin', which is Jim Carrey,
Spittin',
baby
that's
Jim
awesome.
Carrey in Hollywood, and he like meets the vampire, and he thinks he's like going at it with her, and instead she's freaking like biting his inner thigh and like turning into a vampire. It's so friggin' funny, but it doesn't have enough Hollywood for me where I was like, oh, this is definitely an LA film, but it's a really good watch, and it's definitely set in LA.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one.
Night at the Roxbury.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
There is a scene where you can see Tower Video when they're cruising down the boulevard on the way to the club, and I love it for that scene. But
That's awesome.
my top 5 was better than that one, so
Cool.
that's it.
All right, Shawn. Now.
Yeah, honorable mentions. There are a shit ton of films in and around LA. And so I kicked off some of the more obvious ones and ones that just seemed too easy to pick, like, like almost every movie with the word LA in it, I pretty much threw out just because, I mean, come on, like LA Confidential or To Live and Die in LA, which are great flicks, but I just, The Terminator 2, that was too easy. I kicked it off. Boogie Nights, same thing. Great flick, I just was like, nah. And that's about it for my honorable mentions.
My turn. Yeah, so I'm not even sure all these are set in LA, but I think they are. But I had quite a few honorable mentions. First one is Demolition Man. I think that's set
that
in
was
LA.
that was an also ran for me too.
Yeah, yep. Very cool movie, and LA is somewhat important in that movie because it kind of shows, what LA was like before and what it is now. The Hidden. Great movie, but I feel like that could have been placed or set anywhere. LA wasn't really essential to that movie. Strange Days, same deal.
Yes.
Set in LA, but not really integral to the plot. And this last one, I can't read it because my handwriting's terrible, so that's it for me. Oh, Repo Man. This says Repo Man. Okay.
Nice, good one.
Yeah, another great movie, but just didn't quite make the list. So that's my honorable mentions. So, Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a ton of them too. Mostly because I didn't own them. To Live and Die in LA, I got on other formats. Lost Highway, I've got on other formats. Strange Days, I put on the list last week, so I couldn't do it again. Demolition Man was close. I was almost going to throw that in there. And Shortcuts I don't have either, which sucks. And The Long Goodbye. I don't have that either. I wish I could put that on the list. But that's about it.
Oh, whatever, man. Full of shit.
All right.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, is that it for your honorable mentions? I wouldn't want to cut anybody off.
Yeah, he wants to
sure.
stop being a douche.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's go on to our number 5.
Number 5.
Who should go first? Should we go ladies first again?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Maxine.
Okay.
What's your number 5?
So my number 5 was Decline of Western Civilization, The Metal
Fuck
Years.
yeah, nice. Wow.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
I own that on LaserDisc. I've seen it on LaserDisc, and it is insane on LaserDisc. It is
Yeah,
so worth
good
it.
shit.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah, man, hell
God.
yeah.
Just the
Megadeth's
depiction of
featured
those
pretty heavily in
years.
that, isn't it?
Whew.
Aren't they?
Well, I mean,
yeah,
just
they are.
yeah, just seeing the kids though in that film that are just like thinking they're gonna make it, like they're so convinced that they're gonna make it. It's like
Oh, yeah.
no, you're on the down right now. Metal's on the down.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kills me about that movie is there's actually one for sale like 10 minutes from my house here, but they want like $300 for it or something like that. It's like insane. I always watch it on eBay, but yeah, I'll probably never own it. But yeah, good pick. All right, Shawn.
All
your
right, my number 5 is going to be Boys in the Hood. I really love that
Nice.
movie. I saw it with my brother in the theaters. I don't know why he took me, but I guess it was probably my parents made him. But I was just fascinated. I mean, I was a little white fat kid, and I didn't have a lot of black friends. And seeing a movie like that, I think I was like 9 years old. And it was just bizarre to me, and I was like, I couldn't identify with any of it, and it was so strange and unusual and fascinating. And obviously watching it again and again, and especially seeing it lately on LaserDisc, it's just I fell in love with it over again, and it's a great flick set in LA. So
Cool. All right, Sam, you're number 5.
I'm going with Joel Schumacher.
Hold
Who's
on,
there?
guys, I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead, Sam. I'll edit that out.
I'm going with Joel Schumacher's 1994 classic Falling Down with Michael Douglas as
Nice.
a defense worker in greater Los Angeles who loves sitting in traffic all the time and then suddenly snaps and disappears and goes on a tour of the city while gathering bigger and better weapons as he goes along the way, getting in all sorts of strange encounters with the locals. And it definitely isn't very uplifting at the end, but
No.
it is a very fun travelogue. There's a lot of good comedic moments along the way, and a lot of the characters he runs into are great, and yeah, real interesting Los Angelinos. So yeah, big fan of it. And not all the like typical locations you see all the time. I mean, they like to go to all sorts of different spots in the city, and yeah, it was awesome. Great flick.
Cool. All right, my number 5 was a movie that I saw for the first time just last year or so, and that is Ed Wood.
Yes.
Ooh.
I have the Japanese pressing, which is awesome cover.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous cover on that, and the picture quality very good on it. Again, one of those discs that I would say everyone should own in their collection because you can find it cheap, and it's just a fantastic film, and it really takes you to the 1950s film scene of LA.
Yeah, great pick. Wait, what are we talking about
Pretty
again?
cool.
Oh yeah,
Ed
great
Wood.
shit.
Yeah, Ed Wood.
Thank you. All right, so that's it for number 5. Let's go on to number 4. Shawn, why don't you start us off?
All right, number 4 is one of my favorite films of all time. I could watch it over and over and over again. And although it didn't make number 1, it's awesome. And I'm, of course, talking about Big Lebowski. Had to be on
nice.
somebody's list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too great. Wonderful, endlessly quotable.
I get the feeling we're going to get a lot of crossover.
Well, yeah, we might, man.
I don't
It's
know.
possible.
I don't think so. I bet my list is way different.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like about our top 5s and Maxine's is like she's, you're in and from LA. We're from the East Coast, and I've never been to LA. You know what I mean? But
I know.
it's what I imagine
Oh.
LA to be like.
I lived there for a
Come.
while.
People like,
It's very sunny.
Right, but yeah, Big Lebowski is so much fun and everything, endlessly quotable. It's obviously I don't need to say anything else about it except get it on a LaserDisc, motherfuckers.
Cool. All right, I'll go next. My number 4 is Falling Down.
Hey,
For all the reasons,
Nice.
for all the reasons that Sam said. So there you go.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome movie. Michael Douglas is just amazing in it. It's one of those movies that is very depressing, but at the same time also oddly funny if you're really paying attention. But yeah, fantastic movie. That's my number 4. Maxine, your number 4.
My number 4 is Clueless.
hey.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, it is the most epitome of what people think of when they think of 90s and Beverly Hills. And that is like literally what it feels like when you're on Rodeo Drive or like watching teenagers drive. Like that is very accurate. So it's a great film
because when I saw that movie when it came out, I was like, "Yep, this is how I imagine like a California school."
Yeah,
exactly like this.
Yeah. It's what's funny too is I used to watch the TV show version of it, and when so when I went to high school, I'm thinking like, this is what it's gonna be like, and it was not like that, and I was very disappointed.
Yeah, no, but Clueless is a great movie. I enjoy that quite a bit. It's funny, and I love Alicia Silverstone, so very, very good movie. Good pick.
Yeah, nice one.
All right, Sam, what's your number 4?
Number 4, we are going to go... I got to throw a Tarantino flick in here. And since Reservoir Dogs mostly takes place in a warehouse, I got to go with Pulp Fiction. That one gets out and about to a few more locations in L.A. You have diners and all sorts of just weird, outside of Monster Joe's Truck and Tow, stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of fictional locations. And I wish there was a Jackrabbit Slims that I could go to.
My God,
but
me too.
Tarantino's L.A. is also... part of my LA, and I was living out there shortly after that film came out, so it was a trip trying to go around and find some of those old 70s style apartments in Burbank and all that sort of stuff. And
it's literally what my apartment looks like.
You lived out there?
Yeah, I lived out there. All right, get ready. 20 years ago.
That's amazing.
I'm that old.
What was a good Boston boy like you doing? Oh wait, you're from Connecticut. Never mind.
Yeah, I just moved there directly from Boston, actually.
Oh my God,
okay.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
What was a good Boston boy like you doing in a?
I had a friend that was working at Miramax, and he wanted the roommate, and I'm like, "I'll go. Why not?"
That's so cool.
That's pretty neat, man.
Yeah. So, Pulp Fiction.
Let's go on to our number 3. Sam, why don't you start us out this time?
Number 3, since I couldn't put on LA Confidential for the same reasons that Shawn illuminated, I had to go with something with a similar vibe, and we'll go with Roman Polanski's Chinatown.
I was hoping somebody picked this
one.
one.
Very good. Yeah, an amazing story. Just really builds up tension. Jack Nicholson's in it. It's fantastic. Faye Dunaway, John Huston. And it's just, a great mystery, and it's, set at the birth of the city, and trying to get water to the city in the desert is a big part of it, and just a lot of intrigue and a real damaged main character who's got a history that haunts him, and you don't really have that much faith that he's going to be able to pull it off this time. But he just doesn't know how to say no, even when people will come and slice his nose open and things like that. So to tell him to stop digging into things. So really great stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I've never seen it, but.
I know. I haven't seen that one either.
Muggle.
I don't like Jack Nicholson.
What?
I'm not a huge fan either, but this thing, it rules.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Maxine, what's your number 3?
This was hard for me. I had written Troop Beverly Hills after watching it.
Nice.
And ended up watching The Wildlife actually last night, and crossed off Troop Beverly Hills and replaced that with Wildlife, which is Chris Penn and Leah Thompson, Eric Stoltz. It's like them like driving, and Jenny Wright's in that also. They're driving around LA like he's having like a stag party, but he's like in high school. He's not even getting married. He's like pretending, and like they like move out into like an apartment, and the apartment complex is so cool. And just like there's like this other side story of like a brother who's like this army kid, and like randomly, I'm pretty sure it's Randy Quaid, who's just like this Vietnam guy. Like at the end, he's just like getting all heroined up like crazy, and he's just so weird. Like the kid just dips out. It was so weird and bizarre. I just loved it.
It was like peering into Randy Quaid's
I know. But it was
supposed to be like
so
a
good.
spiritual sequel to Fast Times at Ridgemont High in some way too.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. It was like, it was. I felt like Fast Times was going to be pretty predictable, maybe for this list. So I thought that one was actually really good. So
I've never heard of this, and I've never seen it. But the way you
You've never seen The Wildlife?
No,
it's
sounds
really
awesome.
good.
Yeah, fucking
It's
Muggle.
really good.
Buy it for me, bitch. All right.
I may have another copy. I'll look.
You lucky
you go.
Yeah,
bastard.
I'll buy it for Maxine for you.
See, I love this. I'm learning about all these movies that I can check
Oh
out
well,
now.
if you want to know LA, that's literally a majority of my collection is Los Angeles-based films.
See, and you guys thought I was an idiot
Oh,
for
no,
choosing
wait,
this
no, we
top
did not.
five.
Yeah.
Well, at least Moyke
We
did.
did not.
Shawn
you were
did.
an idiot.
Moyke did.
I just couldn't think of any movies based in L.A.
Seriously.
I know.
Maxine, I'm not even joking. He was like, I can't even think of films made in L.A. I'm like, just put movies made in L.A.
It's like
There's a
Every
million.
movie.
I know, right? Do a Google search. Like, what's funny is I did a Google search just to see what like
had
other
to.
things would come up. Oh my gosh, I was like, what? None of these are what I picked.
Well, what's funny is that because I had to Google to find out what movies were set in L.A. and I was looking at the list and I was like, I didn't even know like Back to the Future. That's set in L.A.
So a
Yeah.
suburb.
Yeah.
What? So yeah, I was amazed at all the movies that were actually set in L.A. that I had no idea. But yeah, let's. Okay, so my number 3 was, and I had to put this on the list. It's a bit of an obvious choice, but Blade Runner had to make my list. It's that movie that I always refer to that I once hated the first time I saw it, and then after I saw it the first time, I absolutely loved it, and now it's one of the movies that I watch at least 2 or 3 times a year. So
Nice.
yeah, futuristic LA is
From
just like-
2019 was it
Yeah.
based on?
It's 2019. Yeah, look, if you're gonna make a movie based in the future, make it past our lifespan, so that way no one
Yeah.
can hold you accountable for when what things.
No,
are
I
gonna-
like watching films that are set in the year that they're set in. Like I watched Running Man for the first time because it was 2017.
Another good one.
Yeah, another good one. Yep, absolutely. But yeah, I don't have to say much about Blade Runner. Awesome movie. I just love seeing futuristic LA. It's just so cool. The giant jumbotrons with the Chinese ads or whatever. Just very cool, and they really give that movie that certain feel that I can't describe right now. So there you go, Blade Runner,
Nice
my
pick.
number 3. Sean.
Oh man, mine's this really great movie that Maxine just saw called The Running Man.
Nice.
Yes.
Who loves you?
Excellent. Damon!
Yeah,
I
man.
love this movie.
One of
It
my
should've made
favorites. I couldn't watch it all. It's endlessly quotable again. Just
Yes.
love that
Yep.
movie so much. And Jesse Ventura's in it. I'm down for any ride that includes
my
Jesse
God.
Ventura. And it's so funny and it's so stupid and it's all one-liners. It's great. And for some reason, for this one and the next one I picked, like Destroyed LA is like the most fun. I don't know why.
Nice.
Yeah, there seems to be
So
a
good.
theme. You always see these futuristic movies and LA is just totally trashed. I
Oh,
guess
it's
they
always
didn't
burning. LA is always burning.
yeah.
I know, right?
Nice.
Fuck, mention Strange Days.
The
this
thing I
one,
love.
Jesus.
Okay,
Right? I know. LA is always burning.
all right. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I just want to say the one scene I love in that movie is when that woman is buying soda from the soda machine and
Yeah.
it's like $30.
Yeah.
That's I
Yeah,
just want to
that's
go that out real quick.
Yeah,
Anyway,
no,
go ahead, Sean.
This LaserDiscotheque brought to you by Cadre Cola.
And for those of you playing at home on the home game, of Running Man, just great shit, dude. I just love it. Was Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero.
Plane Zero.
Such a good.
Oh
movie.
my god. I was like, I saw that in 35 millimeter when I saw it for the
Nice.
first time, and I literally almost like,
Yeah.
I was crying
So great.
laughing. It was so funny. The lady, the old woman, she like comes up and she's like cursing on the screen. I was like, oh my gosh. I just like, it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I was literally in tears from that
You
lady.
should see it in 70 millimeter like Eli. sees
God,
all his
Ellie.
movies. But, nah.
Well, I see everything in, well,
Yes.
the theater I go to is Quentin Tarantino's theater. So everything's pretty much in 35 millimeter
fucking awesome.
or 70 millimeter
Awesome
sometimes,
shit.
but
Yeah.
mainly
That's
35.
awesome. Cool.
You were way cooler than
All
any of
right,
us.
that was a really good pick. That was
Yes.
a really good pick. Okay, number 2, Sam.
Sham.
Sham. Why don't you
Sham
start
is
We'll
us
see it
off?
at the same time, Sam.
And,
See if that's the same.
That's
I had to get just as predictable as Moyke, and I went with Blade Runner
nice.
because
Fuck.
Nice.
it's
Yes.
LA, man. It might not be the LA that's happened yet, but it's the LA that I love.
It's
It's
the
gonna
LA that I
happen.
hope happens.
TDK and Atari neon
It's
signs
Cuisinart.
everywhere. Giant pyramids in the middle of downtown, spinning flying cars. Yeah, that's 2019, man.
I'm hoping
Definitely
for
a
it.
flying
I want
car.
the flying cars.
Flying
Definitely.
cars.
I'm definitely living in one of those pyramids for sure.
Nice, top floor, buddy.
It's a very small
I
room.
definitely want to. I want to test.
Yeah, I'll
I
come
want
play
to test
chess
all
with
my
you.
guests with a
The
void
rooms
comp.
get bigger the farther down you are. All right. Yeah. So Sean.
I figured I'd, pick something wild and off the wall, and I went with Blade Runner.
Oh my God.
Oh my god.
You know,
Yahtzee.
to
I
be
love how it
honest,
wasn't even on my
I would have
list.
put it like fifth. Yeah, but for some reason, it's like the antithesis of LA. It's like what you think of
It
what LA
is,
is now.
it
It's
is.
sun, it's beaches, it's blah blah blah, and in Blade Runner, it's just rain and shit. You know what I mean? And also
And pyramids.
it also introduces this cool idea that I like, which is this pan American Asian culture. You know what I mean? Like with the left coast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in the East Coast in the future, everybody's like this weird European centric, whatever. But on the West Coast, it always ends up being this like American / Asian thing.
Well, I think they're just thinking Koreatown
Right, yeah.
and Chinatown
Yeah,
are just gonna take over. They are taking over.
Right.
Koreatown is.
And I, of course, for obvious reasons, I love it. It's a great movie. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, next.
Maxine, go ahead.
Okay, 1 and 2 were extremely easy for me. So number 2 was Earth Girls Are
Nice.
Easy, which is literally, I could watch that a gazillion times. I could never get sick of that. The widescreen version of it on LaserDisc is like literally
Yeah,
kills it.
that
It's
is
so
a nice
good.
release.
But it's
It's awesome. There is a widescreen
So
one too.
many.
That's awesome, man.
Yep.
I know. It's like really
Yeah.
late though. I think it's like 98 or 99, but
Yep.
it was so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I love that film. Forever I wanted to start a hair salon called Curl Up and Die because that movie just like literally kills it on everything. She's like in her convertible Mustang and she's got the blow dryer plugged in and she's blow drying her most perfect nails going into work, and then like it's just like
be back.
everything about it is so just LA.
Yeah.
We lost Shawn again.
This episode is going to be a freaking nightmare to edit. Let me just throw this out there right now.
I think
Sorry.
the gimp keeps waking up and knocking on his cage, and Shawn has to keep going and feeding him or something.
Poke it with a stick.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go on to my number 2. My number 2 was also very easy, and this is a movie that I absolutely love. And again, one of those movies that I go back to over and over again. My choice is They Live.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Yes.
That
LA
was
serves
almost
as
on
a
my list.
pretty awesome backdrop for this type of movie that is, sort of pointing out our
Homeless people everywhere.
homeless people, consumerism.
So accurate right now too. There's so many.
Just, you see billboards everywhere, just rampant consumerism.
Consume.
What's that shopping district? Soho, I think. Is that the shopping district?
Oh, there's the fashion district and the
I'm
garment
not even gonna
district.
pretend like I know about any of that. But anyway, when he goes through that, he's just going through all these, sort of upscale neighborhoods and just kicking alien ass.
Yep.
Yeah, just an awesome movie. And I that's for my list, I really try to pick movies that had to be set in LA. Like they couldn't be set anywhere else. If They Live was set in Saskatchewan, I don't think it would have the same impact. So it's very awesome that it was it had to be set in LA.
True.
So that's my pick.
Sweet.
They Live.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great.
Okay.
I love it.
I think we're on number 1 now, right?
We are.
All right. Let's our esteemed guest. Go ahead. What's your number 1?
Well, this should just be no surprise. It's
Oh
Valley
my
Girl
God.
because it is 120%.
Tripendicular.
When they say this is the story of my life, they are talking about my
Gag
life.
me with a spoon.
And
Literally,
Nick Cage's
though.
best line there, is this
I'm
movie in
from
3D? No, but your face is.
It's the
I
best.
need
It's
to
the
get
best.
this.
He's like dropping the dropstick on. Oh, guess I dropped that right there. Oh, and he just like picks it up out of his lap, like puts it back in his mouth. He's like, oh, what a bozo. Like,
Oh, I gotta get that movie. Just
what's
for Nick
funny-
Cage.
It's so great.
well, actually, the girl Julie who's in it, she's in April Fool's Day, and her boyfriend Tommy actually is a friend in the wildlife. So it was funny seeing him in another film where the actual main character in Wildlife, who isn't him, is named Tommy, yet he's Tommy in Valley Girl. It was
E.G.
great.
Daly's in there. She's great.
So good. Yeah, E.G. Oh my! I saw that one at the Quentin Tarantino's theater, and I met
Awesome.
E.G. Daly. Oh my gosh, she was so nice. It was good to just see that film there as well as on LaserDisc, because it was just like the feels are so the same on film for that one especially, because it's usually
Oh,
limited.
jeez.
Yeah, of course it would be. Moyke wants it.
It's
I know. As soon as I
unfortunate.
wanted it, that's
I know.
It's rotted.
yeah, rotted.
I have come across some decent copies of it, so it is pretty good to find it, but there's always some.
I
at
will
least
find a
little bit.
Japanese copy somewhere. I swear it.
Right?
I don't think they made one.
If it exists. Anyway.
I have a pre-production pressing of it, and that one's almost completely rotted, but it's
That
just
is badass.
Yeah, that is
have it.
That's awesome.
Holy crap. All right. Well, Sam, what was your number 1?
Number 1 is Michael Mann's
Oh
Heat.
yeah.
This movie just oozes Los
Yes.
Angeles, and again, not usually some of the
And Val
typical
Kilmer.
places you would want to go in Los Angeles, but just everything from coffee shops to strange intersections and shipping areas and every little weird Korean district and strange backyard areas. Michael Mann went to these places, and unlike Pulp Fiction, where a lot of it's artifice, he actually shot this stuff at real chop shops, at real dangerous places where you probably shouldn't go, and real nightclubs, etc. So it is quintessential LA crime. Great stuff, and it's just an amazing movie and amazing sound and all that stuff. So
I agree. Very nice release, and again, one of those movies, very cheap. No reason you shouldn't pick it up.
Yeah.
Dime a dozen. Pick it up for a couple bucks. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
get it
There
on
you go.
Hollywood
Go to
Laserdisc.
Hollywood Laserdisc and get it.
She probably has 200 copies of it.
We have it in stock.
Yeah.
We have at least
There you
2
go.
copies in stock.
They make great stocking stuffers if you have really weird shaped
They do.
stockings.
Yeah, if they're 13 inches
good
by
front of the
12 inches or something.
If your stocking's that
Alright.
large.
Put them on the mantle.
We're gonna save Shawn for last, so I'm gonna go
Oh,
next.
okay.
All right.
My number one had to be, without a doubt, The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
I love The
Yes.
Big Lebowski. I'm on a daily basis. I consider picking up one of those. I think it's a $12,000 pinball machine that they released a couple years ago. There's this awesome Big Lebowski pinball machine. You can actually bowl on the pinball machine. It's kind of weird, but anyway, fantastic movie for all the reasons Shawn
awesome.
mentioned earlier. And yeah, it feels like LA. Well, at least what I would imagine LA to feel. You got a dude in his bathrobe drinking, White Russians. He's pissed about his carpet being ruined. He's, going to Beverly Hills to try to extort, money out of this guy for a new carpet, or at least get a new carpet. And it's just LA insanity. So, yeah, my number one, The Big Lebowski. Had to be.
Yeah. Can't
Good
bitch
choice.
about that one.
All right, Shawn. I'm gonna bitch it wasn't farther up your list.
Well, no. To be honest, man, number one was the easiest part for me. And like Sam, I had to pick a Tarantino film, and I picked my favorite one, which is Jackie Brown. And
Nice.
I love the soundtrack to that movie. Obviously, I love Tarantino movies, all except for one, and I don't want to get into that argument. I don't know. I think it's more about the LA vibe I get, because again, I've never been there, is from the people in it, rather than just the locations he's in. Because it seems like he picked fairly it's not. You can't tell if it's a specific place anywhere. You know what I mean? It's almost like a noir in that way.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I love all the characters in it and everything like that.
Was there a voiceover?
Oh no! Don't get started on that.
Oh my. Anyway, I love Jackie Brown. Every edition of it on LaserDisc is fucking fantastic. It's just fucking great. Get it? It's awesome. It's my favorite LA film. Flick. There it is. Number one. Bang.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Well, that was it. That was our top 5 list.
Yeah.
Maxine, do you want to hang around and do some hot topics and mailbag with us?
Yeah.
All right,
Let's do
cool.
it.
So let's go on to
Hot
hot
topics.
topics.
Topics in the morning, topics in the evening, topics from the LDF.
With Maxine.
What you gonna pick?
Degrassi?
Hot
What?
topics.
All right. So the first hot topic we have is some a-hole came in and asked, why watch LaserDiscs in 2017? Why when there are better versions? That's the gist of it anyway. I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah, there was a couple posts that
Yeah.
asked the same thing, and that's kind of like a mashup.
First of all, I just want to point out what kind of
Yeah, I
asshole
remember
comes
that.
to a LaserDisc collectors group and asks a question like that.
The same guy that comes in looking for gay porn on
To be
LaserDisc.
fair, to be fair, really quick. No,
not to not be fair. To not be fair.
The guy told me that he got added by a friend.
What?
He
How
didn't
does
add
I heard that
himself.
too.
A friend,
That's
because his
impossible.
friend knew he used to collect LaserDiscs and thought he would care, but he doesn't. Pretty much.
I mean, these
And
people.
that was the first
That was
guy.
the first guy.
Yeah.
The other guy was just.
But these people act like we just don't know that Blu-ray exists. We're like this.
Yeah, like
you
we
know,
haven't figured it out.
We're
yeah.
like this tribe in the middle of the Amazon that just has no idea what an airplane is. It's like we know. Maxine,
go on,
why do you collect LaserDiscs in 2017?
Well, I have never seen a Blu-ray, So
She's part
I
of the
am
tribe.
in the Amazon. I'm part of the tribe. Yeah, I've literally I've only really watched DVD and VHS and LaserDisc and film, and basically for me, I was pretty much into collecting records, and then when I kept finding LaserDiscs, I remembered them from when I was a kid. I watched Christmas Vacation when I was 8 with some friends who were like rich parents who got LaserDiscs when they were like hip and expensive, and
Oh, Shawn ran away on us.
Oh my God.
Bad Shawn.
What a nightmare this is gonna be. All right. Go on, Maxine. It's okay. We'll get him back on.
okay. So yeah, I saw a bunch of.
Let me ask you this. Why not?
LaserDiscs
Why
in while I
not buy
was
Blu-ray?
because it's expensive and I don't have a player. And I don't know anyone who owns Blu-rays or has a Blu-ray player. And I guess I hate to say like in my generation, but everyone's pretty much like streaming doesn't even own physical formats almost at all. So if you do own physical formats, it usually is something that's less expensive. And, you know, I was finding a lot of discs locally, and you can find DVDs locally too that are, but even DVDs, like when I go to swap meets and stuff, they want more for DVDs than they do for a LaserDisc. So just in the price point alone, like I gravitate towards it. But for quality, I think the sound quality obviously blows everything out of the water, and then picture quality to me, I don't like sharp picture. It like annoys me because I'm used to watching film. So seeing something that is film-like and has the dope theater sound, like that's the perfect blend to me. That's exactly what I would want to see. And then when you do put the, you know, the cover out for a display, like it's much more fun to look at than some stupid like weirdo design on a box. Like lame.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree 100%. I mean, DVDs are just so fucking boring to me. They're just this small rectangular box, tiny disc inside. Like who like I don't care. It's digital. It's got a menu. All this shit I don't want to deal with.
And then this is the big thing too that most people don't even think about, that has been something that I totally take for granted. On LaserDiscs, there's like no commercials.
Yep.
Do you know that? There's no freaking commercials anywhere. I'm like, why isn't anyone jumping on board here? If there are commercials, they're like feature presentation, and that's it. Like from the VHS tape world, like that's it. That's all you ever see. And then maybe there'll be a couple at the end, or like as bonus, there'll be trailers.
Yeah,
like,
there's so much shit at the beginning of Blu-rays and DVDs that you can't skip past. You're like a captive audience having to watch the shit that they're flashing in front of you. With LaserDisc, you just fast forward, and it's like gone.
If there are any, like there's like, and usually if there is anything, it's just like Vestron logos, which I could watch forever. Yeah. And like image those pew 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 just flying in at you. That's amazing.
I agree. Yeah, and like you were touching on before with Blu-ray, like I don't want to watch full moon movies with the utmost clarity. If I'm gonna watch a movie like that shit better be in 4:3 and it better be murky as hell.
Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. So, anyway.
I'd like too that you have to go out and buy a Blu-ray of every movie you own on LD. Like that was an expectation from this guy. Like, why are you watching? You know, because he brought up like Wizard of Oz or something like that. Like I've got Wizard of Oz on LD. Like, do I have to go out and get the Blu-ray now? He's like,
nah.
Why are you watching it? Like, why can't I just have a living, breathing library that spans, a couple different formats even? Yep. But no, with that guy, it's gotta be the newest and best thing.
Yeah, I've owned I had a huge DVD collection back when that was sort of the thing. I actually adopted very early into DVD. My first DVD was The Sixth Sense, and I had this like $300 low-grade RCA DVD player. So I was very invested in DVD, and then when Blu-ray came out, I had a very small Blu-ray collection, but I got to a point where I was like, these are just so boring. Like, why do I have all this stuff? Especially when we live in the age of streaming, and I can set up my own Plex server. I can put all my movies on it. Yeah, and it's like, why do I have an entire wall of DVDs here? And when they're just boring me to death. So I sold off all my physical media, and I just went to streaming only. And then shortly thereafter, I discovered LaserDiscs and filled that wall again with even bigger movies. But anyway. Point being,
they're better.
Yeah.
They're
so
much
anything
better.
that's on LaserDisc, I get it on LaserDisc. Anything that I can stream that's not on LaserDisc, I stream. That's the end of it. So
I collect Blu-rays too, but I'm like that. Yeah, I do. but But I mean, I don't know. I still will watch the movies that I have on LaserDisc. Sometimes I'll watch Goldfinger on LaserDisc. Sometimes I'll watch it on Blu-ray. It doesn't have to be either or for me. And I don't know why that guy was, or those guys were so wrapped up in that. It's almost like they were offended that somebody was watching something on LaserDisc.
Yeah, and they were acting like I was a dick. I mean, I certainly was a dick later down the conversation, but
Yeah,
at
but that's what
first,
you do.
but at first, I gave a
Yeah.
very nice, straightforward answer, and then he gave me a bunch of shit for it, and that that's what set me off. But anyway,
I didn't respond to the second one at all. I just didn't like the tone of the original question. I was like, nah, I'm not getting involved in this. So.
but
Yeah, I pretty much anyone who asks like, "Oh, have you ever watched Blu-ray or anything like that?" I'm like, "No, I've never watched Blu-ray. Like, I literally have DVD of Pee-wee's Playhouse and 90210 and Gem,
Pee-wee.
and that's
that's
literally
really all
it.
you need. Yeah,
And that's all I need. I have a couple trauma
Nice.
films that never made it to
Okay.
LaserDisc, like Surf
Oh,
Nazis
yeah,
Must
yeah,
Die.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's pretty much, and Garbage Pail Kids. You know the
I
necessities.
approve
so.
of that. That's Sam.
So I guess
I don't approve of your Blu-ray habit though. Sorry.
No, man, I love Blu-ray, but I'm not going to get into that here because it's a LaserDiscotheque, man.
That's right. Blu-ray,
So-
fuck you.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's for another podcast.
right,
I got a weird text from Shawn saying that his phone was dead, I guess. So do you want to just power through and I
Let's
can do
power
Shawn's
through,
voice?
Yeah.
All right.
We got his replacement here anyway.
Yep. You're hired, Maxine.
Do you have a good
Yes.
phone and internet connection?
I'll be here all week.
You're hired.
I have great internet.
All right. Well, that's
Yes.
all I had for hot topics. Anybody have any other topics they want to bring up that have been discussed lately?
How about that
Oh,
4-3
no, we
guy?
promised
we
we'd
can't.
never talk
we can't
about
talk
it.
about it. We don't
I'm
wanna
sorry.
get sued.
Okay. I was so
No,
confused
don't
by
say his
that.
name.
All right, I didn't even know
All right,
his
good.
name.
And we won't get sued.
Okay. All right, sorry.
Trust me. We would love to talk about him, but we can't.
I know. I'm sure. For
We'll
sure.
have to settle with him in poutine dollars or whatever the heck.
Poutine?
Bitcoin.
Poutine. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for hot topics. Let's go on to the mailbag. Now, Shawn,
Yes.
Shawn usually does our mailbag song, but he's not here, so
Mailbag, mailbag, mailbag.
there you go.
Yeah.
Mail
So
time.
the first email says, "Good evening, Huey, Dewey, and Louie."
Aw.
I guess
Which
that-
one's which?
I don't know. Maxine, you can be Dewey. How do you feel about that?
Yay!
I'll be
I'll
Huey.
take it.
All right, I'll be Louie. That's cool.
All right.
All right, Ela here. So this is Ela Svern from all those LaserDisc groups.
Also known as Ilya Antonovs,
Yep, also known as never mind.
the Shadow Man.
The Shadow Man. That's right. A couple of questions. First question: what are your thoughts on soundbar home cinema systems?
Oh,
Well.
Moyke, you're gonna love this one.
Well, I've got nothing against it. You know, there are some soundbars that I would say are fine. If you don't want to run wires or deal with RF systems or anything like that. But not all soundbars are created equal. There are some soundbars like sort of the bargain bin Vizio soundbars that I would say no, do not watch.
Target specials.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they're better. They're going to be better than the speakers that come on your, LCD or LED TV.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I did upgrade to a 5.1 surround system that accepted AC3. But still, if depending on your situation, your living situation, what it looks like, sound bars are acceptable. Especially for Eli, I know he lives in an apartment that has concrete walls. So running wires is probably going to be a little tricky for him. So, just if you're going to get a soundbar, invest in a good one. And Eli, I know you're a cheap bastard who buys the cheapest garbage and returns it over and over again. So invest in like a Sony soundbar that has a subwoofer, and you'll be fine. What do you guys think about soundbars?
I just look at them as a replacement for the crappy speakers that come or don't come with your TV. I don't really consider them a home cinema sound format. Like, I don't know, they like try and pimp them like it's the same thing as getting DTS 5.1. It's like, no, it's just a better version of what comes with your TV. So, so I'm not against them in that format, but I don't think it's a substitute for a good full 5.1 or bigger surround system.
No. What do you think, Maxime? Yeah. What do you rock?
TV speakers.
Okay. So I have a Yamaha RXV1, and I'm running that to some newly acquired Boston speakers. And I'm getting surround sound going, but because I moved like 6 months ago, but like my surround sound setup still isn't like set up yet,
right.
and so I'm getting there.
No,
but for sound bars, like same thing.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Setting something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I have the speakers in the right place, but like there's like so many doorways in my apartment that I'd have to go over and then back down under, like it's like it's gonna be tough, but that's going to happen soon. I have all the speakers and the wire ready. I just need to like get my boyfriend to
and definitely use the Video Essentials disc. I found that to be very helpful when setting mine up.
Getting your levels.
Yes, I used that to set when I got the DVDO. I used that to set up my my picture quality, and I was really impressed
it's an AC3
by
and it's amazing. There's a part where the narrator sort of walks around your room, and you can hear him like move around the room from speaker to speaker. It's really cool.
Just watch out. There's 2 pressings of Video Essentials, and one has a bad AC3 track, and the surrounds are 3 decibels too quiet on that one.
Oh, fuck. Well, which one?
Google it online. It'll tell you. You can tell the difference when you watch it. Like there's an AC3 logo that's on one that's not on the other or something like that. But use the interwebs.
I think mine does.
I don't think it'll matter because when I was calibrating mine, I was closing my eyes and just adjusting the levels just by listening. So
I was like wanting to try one of those like mics where you just put it in the center of the room and it like does something for you. That sounds like too cool.
No,
for
that's
words,
awesome.
but...
Yeah. The system I owned before I went to a soundbar had that, and it worked very well. So
yeah, the Odyssey EQ thing where you just set it and forget it. Yeah.
Very
but yeah,
cool.
if you use the one that's 3 decibels too low and you do it by ear, like you were saying, Moyke, then every other AC3 LaserDisc you listen to will be 3 decibels too loud.
That's okay with
me.
me.
Gosh.
Okay.
Just don't watch Heat
loud,
like that.
You're too old.
You're too old.
I don't know about that. Heat blew me away, man. Literally, I was like, this is a problem. It's too loud.
Yeah, and you live in an apartment, so that's rough.
I know. I was like on volume patrol, like, because the friggin' voices are so low, and then you're like, what are they saying? And then it's like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening?
And I'll answer for Shawn. He loves sound bars. He wants more of them.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
There you go.
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
All right. His second question.
I have no
is,
experience
which
with
Disney
them.
box sets do you recommend purchasing, both Japanese and U.S.? I have a huge weakness for box sets, and just realized I don't have a single Disney one. Regards. Toy Story box set definitely. Is that Disney?
Yep.
Is that
That's Disney. Pixar.
Okay.
Close enough.
Yes,
okay,
it is.
gotcha. Yeah. Definitely that one. Lion King.
Tron.
No,
Yeah, Lion King.
You don't have to get Tron.
Yes,
so.
Tron.
Tron's lame.
Yes, Tron.
Lion King for sure.
Tron for sure.
What do you think, Maxine?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking that one. That's a good looking
Yeah, it
box
is.
set. Pinocchio honestly is a pretty good one too.
Oh,
It has a
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. I think doesn't Hunchback have
that's a good one.
Yes.
I regret not keeping
Yeah.
that when I have it.
And even like the black and white Mickey ones or like Alice in Wonderland,
Yeah.
those
They're
are
all
nice.
good,
Yeah, that is pretty good.
The Snow White box is nice. Cinderella's nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Pass
Cinderella's
on
a good
Pinocchio.
one.
Cheap garbage.
Okay.
They got that.
Okay.
They got that little plastic tray in there that I absolutely. It always fell
Yeah.
out of the
Oh,
box
yeah,
when I
that-
had it. So annoying.
But Moyke says Tron.
No,
Tron.
no, pass on Tron.
Muggle.
Okay, that's it for Ela. Let's go on to the next one. Garth Tiffin asks.
Garth. What's up, Garth?
Yep, he's got some good ones here. We know what the best version of Star Wars trilogy is to own on LaserDisc, but what's the worst? Maxine, what's your worst-selling Star Wars trilogy sets?
I think probably the best selling is obviously the Faces one, just because I get that the most frequently. And then the box set, the definitive box set, and the special edition box set are probably tied. And unless it's a sealed version of it, the CBS one's not. I think there's a non-widescreen CBS one. Those are the ones that kind of no one really wants those. But I have no real trouble with the widescreen.
Yeah,
CBS
Sam, what do you?
ones.
I think at this point only a completionist who's trying to get all the Star Wars discs is buying the pan and scan at this point, right?
Or our poor buddy John Froelich, who was guilted into picking them up because he said he had a complete collection, and everyone's like, "That's not complete, brah."
Never say you have a complete collection of anything on
God.
LaserDisc forever, because you will quickly find out that there's some rare
Yeah, there's like a Hong Kong version that you're never going to find that you're
released
missing.
in Singapore or like some crazy
And
thing.
Yeah.
There's a few different pan and scans. There's like pan and scan CAV, there's pan and scan and CLV, and there's a lot of them are time compressed.
Yep.
So they were like really sped up, and I don't know. Don't bother with that stuff unless you really, really want to re-experience it the way you saw it on
If it's
cable.
one disc for one movie, it's probably not good.
Agreed. All right. Well, that was an easy one. His next question is, what's the best political movie to own on LaserDisc? Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I might have to go with The People versus Larry Flint. Now, I'm not the biggest Woody Harrelson fan, and I can't stand Courtney Love, but for some reason, that movie, they do really well in it. It's an awesome political movie, I'd say.
Oh man, was Wag the Dog too late to hit LD? I think that was.
No, it's on LD, and
right,
there's a
there you go.
DTS version.
Yeah.
There's a DTS version.
Yeah, I've had the
All right,
DTS
perfect.
version.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't like that movie though.
Well, I mean, I think of lots of like war movies or action adventure movies with politics in them, but yeah, it's straight out political movies. I don't know. There's not really that many that I love.
How about you, Maxine? You seem like a political movie fan.
I know. I'm just like,
There's just not very many good political movies. I mean,
I think I'll go with this school politics, which 3 o'clock.
Excellent film.
yep, there you go.
It's a lot of good school
That'll
politics
do.
in there.
I vote for that one as well.
Oh, election. I'll go with election.
Election is fantastic.
That's a great
Yes.
movie. Yep.
Yes.
There you go. Next question from Mega Christ.
Nice. What's up, Mega Christ?
It's Mr. C. Christ. Mr. C. Christ himself. C. Christ out.
Jason.
All right, he wants to know, Halloween is around the corner. What are your favorite LDs to celebrate the holiday? Signed, Mega Christ.
It's my
All right,
favorite
Maxine.
question. Well, I always watch.
Oh, yes, I do
Focus.
too.
That is my most favorite of favorites. And then probably for cartoon stuff, I like I think it's the Flintstones meet Frankenstein, or no, it's Is it Rockula? I'm pretty sure it's Rockula, and I like that one. And Casper, obviously, both the cartoon and the non-cartoon are really good.
Definitely. Did you ever find a non-rot or a rot-free copy of, what was it, the Halloween Tree or whatever the hell it was called?
You know what? What's weird is I feel like it was something maybe with my player at the time. I'm gonna watch it again and like this coming season and see if it's still okay, because I haven't watched it on any of my new players yet. Because I was having a lot of player trouble like when I got a lot of discs. Yeah, and I finally when I got that 99 and I got the 919, changed my life.
I love the 99. But yeah, the Halloween Tree would be one if I owned it, which I don't, but
No.
hope to someday. What else do I spin on? Oh, Halloween 3 is one that I spin.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's my
literally
favorite Halloween, like the series Halloween movie of all of them.
Was just talking to Christian Hannah Horror about that today and how it's sad there's no letterbox copies of that out there.
Yeah. Yep. Even the Japanese pressing is Pan-O-Scan, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'd be all over that.
Definitely. All right, what about you, Sam? What's your favorite?
Obviously, John Carpenter's Halloween, the Criterion, Gatefold. I love that thing. Night of the Creeps. That's usually a perennial.
Oh yes.
Practical Magic always gets spun in my household.
I love that movie.
What else? And usually it's just some of the other heavy hitters. I got, what was it? The Howling from Moyke not too long ago, so I watched that. Any of the Dead films, Dawn of the Dead, that sort of stuff, yeah. So I don't collect Fulci films because they're too damn expensive.
And they suck.
Well, I loves me some Fulci, but I just don't love paying. I just don't love paying $100 for them.
I got Zombie, and I watched Zombie last year.
I
on
love
Halloween.
Zombie.
What'd you think of Zombie?
I thought it was insane and bizarre,
Exactly.
and I loved it.
Whatever.
That's the correct answer.
It's an acquired. I guess it's an acquired taste, but I don't know.
Kind of like
I
how
liked it.
feces is an acquired taste.
Yeah. Have you seen House by the Cemetery, Moyke?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, your love of annoying kids. You should definitely check that
My
out. 'Cause
love
you're
of
gonna-
annoying
You're gonna freak out when you see that.
You're the only annoying kid
God.
I love, Sam.
I know. Think about like the kid from Outland, but make him like 30 times more annoying. And
Does he get
Oh
killed?
my
Does he
God.
get killed in it? Because
I'm not spoiling it. You're gonna have to watch it.
Oh no, I'll have to watch it just for the hopes that he gets killed.
Yep.
All right, well, that's going to do for this episode of Laser Discotheque, episode 8. I would like to thank Sam Hatch for joining me, as always.
Thank you, Moyke.
And our special guest, Maxine Davlin from Hollywood LaserDisc and a member of go ahead, tell us what that website is again. What's the URL?
www.hollywoodlaserdisc.com.
Go check that out and pick up some awesome discs. I got a Spinal Tap, and she actually let me pick which one I wanted from the few copies she had. So.
Very cool.
Yes, I actually have too.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks.
And Shawn. I guess we should thank Shawn.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Thanks for abandoning us.
I know.
You've been replaced.
Sorry.
Maxine's in.
You heard it. You're first.
See you in a week.
All right. Peace out.
Yep.
Bye.